Welcome, everybody. This presentation is from Ghazi, Triki. Ghazi has been a member of the BigBlueButton community for over 10 years now. Actually goes back to the Flash days and then has built a company up around providing support, integration, hosting for BigBlueButton, and has helped extend the product in many ways. Today, he's going to share some of the work he's been doing at RIADVICE. And Ghazi, I turn it over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, everyone, for being present today. Good afternoon. Good afternoon if you're in Europe, Africa. Good morning if you are in America, and hello, everyone, wherever you are. So, welcome to this exciting presentation. We will introduce you to a new BigBlueButton integration. Its name is BBBeasy. It is an open source room manager designed specifically and purely for BigBlueButton. Today we are here, of course, to showcase BBBeasy, how we can improve the BigBlueButton experience and extend it beyond being the best open source virtual classroom, of course, and how you can use BBBeasy to unlock the full efficiency of BigBlueButton by managing virtual rooms. I'm going, of course, to present myself so you'll understand the full context of this project. But before presenting myself, we'll talk about the agenda. So we'll present the problem in three bullet points to understand why we designed BigBlueButton. We'll explain the foundations that we decided to build BBBeasy on top of them. We'll present you the architecture. Of course, we'll explain what features are being implemented in BBBeasy specifically. We'll show a demo, of course, because you need to see how it is working. And finally, we'll present you the roadmap of the project. So, introducing myself. So, as Fred said, I'm the CEO of RIADVICE. I've been in the IT industry for over 15 years, starting as a developer, a Flex developer. Then worked my way up to architect, project manager, then as a consultant. I've been working in different sectors: food industry, healthcare, carpooling, logistics, of course, web conferencing, and I've been most recently involved into smart cities programs. I am also core committer to BigBlueButton and contributor to BigBlueButton since 2013. Worked on a lot of features of BigBlueButton, extending it and making it the best open source, I think, web conferencing platform, not only virtual classroom. So to understand really the context of BBBeasy, a bit of history. So I've been working with customers on BigBlueButton from 2013 to 2019 on a non-educational context. So I've never been working on BigBlueButton educational context until a year before COVID. So I've seen BigBlueButton integrated in a lot of businesses. But let's take the first bullet point of the problem statement. So one thing that we found with integrations of BigBlueButton is that they are always locked into the context. It is a challenge because you have an ecosystem, a learning ecosystem, or an LMS or a full educational platform that integrates BigBlueButton and uses it in a very specific way. We found that organizations need virtual meeting solutions. We found that companies are looking to host their own webinars, to use it for healthcare, and this lock creates a hurdle for them. So they might face difficulties integrating BigBlueButton seamlessly into their existing infrastructure, hindering their ability to fully leverage its capabilities. However, we really see this as an opportunity rather than a limitation. And when it comes to the implementation choice of BBBeasy, we'll explain how we have turned this challenge into a stepping stone towards unlocking the full potential of BigBlueButton. Second, one of the challenges we faced by users, by BigBlueButton users, is the increasing complexity of managing and configuring rooms for when they rely on the existing systems. So, as an organization, community, or business that really uses BigBlueButton knows it very well, they often create multiple type of rooms. They create a big number of rooms, and they accommodate those rooms to various requirements and various meetings, various events. So they really do a lot of web conferencing, and this number of rooms growing, the task of managing and remembering the configuration settings becomes increasingly complex for them. So the existing room management integrations may lack intuitive user interface or robust features for efficient room management. Some users find it difficult to navigate and modify room configuration because it's really tied to the rooms. Also, there is no fine-grained permissions system for managing those integrations, and customizing settings is a requirement for those customers. Additionally, the number of rooms increasing, it becomes challenging to maintain consistency across all rooms. Keeping tracks of individual room settings, access controls, and user permission becomes overwhelming and time-consuming. Now, let's dive into a crucial aspect of BigBlueButton that really, for us, goes unnoticed. We know that BigBlueButton is the first open source web conference platform. Now it's the best virtual classroom open platform, but we really think that BigBlueButton is more than that. It's really the best open source web conferencing platform that can be integrated into multiple activities. So we have users that use it for telemedicine. We have users that use them for customer support. We have users or our customers using BigBlueButton for appointments. We have users that integrate BigBlueButton into their hybrid events. A lot of use cases, and those use cases made us think about how can we create an easy-to-use integration that gathers all those requirements into a single user interface. And after discussions with users, we found that people, when they know BigBlueButton very well, they would love to use it for everything. We had customers that asked to use the same user interface for HR recruitment, for pre-recorded meetings, for one-to-one teaching, all through the same interface without going through a locked LMS ecosystem. So they want to use all the configuration of BigBlueButton, but without that learning management ecosystem. And from that came the idea of BBBeasy. Of course, we changed its name, so because we think that BBBeasy really translates the purpose of the project. And BBBeasy really aims to break free from the constraints of an ecosystem-centric implementation for BigBlueButton. It's, of course, a standalone open source integration that really helps you to create all the type of rooms you want for your organization. Of course, it's meant to be easy to use for administrators and for users. So you can install it with a single line, with a single command line. It has a web user interface for install and a second web user interface for all the platform. It's user-friendly. Most of the actions can be done in 2 or 3 clicks. We try to comply to that requirement. It's versatile, so you can fine-grain the BigBlueButton configuration and the permissions. We'll see that in the demo. And the idea is also to have a comprehensive coverage of all what BigBlueButton can do. And of course, we decided to make it open source because we know that BigBlueButton community is very powerful, and this open source nature ensures transparency, flexibility, and a vibrant ecosystem of the developers and users working together to enhance the features of BBBeasy. So by embracing open source principles, BBBeasy fosters innovation and empowers users to shape the future of BigBlueButton integration. So this is what we believe in. In terms of easiness of use, so when we say it's easy, this is what we really mean. And when you install BBBeasy, you just get this landing page that explains you how to use it. So you just when you create a room, you give it a name. So you select your own name. You assign the configuration preset. We'll see what is a configuration preset. And you organize it with labels, so you can filter them later. And that's all. This is how you create your rooms in BigBlueButton, in BBBeasy. But before going to the features and show you demo, so we'll talk about technical. So the repository architecture is using Vagrant. Vagrant, is a provisioning system to create virtual environments. So the idea is really to help to make possible the development of the platform through all the operating systems. So whether you are in Windows, Linux, or macOS, you can provision a development environment and extend the platform. We have PM2 for managing the development ecosystem, so you can switch between applications very easily. The front end relies on Yarn for dependency management and Cypress for end-to-end testing. Of course, Docusaurus, which is already used for BigBlueButton, we use it also for the documentation, which is going to be extensive for the project. And there are some bash scripts also to manage the application during the development. In terms of application architecture, it's very simple. So there is a PHP backend using fat-free framework. So most of you might not know this framework, but it's one of the most stable PHP frameworks we ever seen, and we've used it in a lot of commercial products. It's really stable through all the versions of PHP. And the other advantage why we selected it, because it has a very low resource footprint. It uses a small amount of RAM and CPU compared to the other frameworks, and it's very mature. So everything you need is inside it. So the backend is in PHP, as we explained it. Persistence is in a Postgres database. There is a caching in Redis to accelerate accelerate some processes. A bash utility, of course, to manage the state, like in like BBBconf, so you can manage your application, switch between the web installer, as example we show that, and the web application. And the front end is a modern front end, fully written in TypeScript, based on the Ant design system. And Ant design allows us to create enterprise applications very easily based on React components. In terms of features, we don't really want to make it very, very extensive, but we want to have a core of managing rooms. So you have your rooms management along with presets. So we'll show you what is a preset, because a room is to a room you can attach a preset, and you can tag it with the labels. You can also manage your recordings, and with a full ACL matrix and users manager, so you can create your own roles depending on what you want to allow for certain roles and what you want to disallow. In terms of installation, it's just one line, like BigBlueButton. So you just execute one line, and all the platform is installed for you. Everything, the database, the cache, the password is created for you. So you just use it. Once the installation has been done, it will activate the web installer, and we'll show you what is the web installer now. So I'm sharing my screen right now. So the web installer, here we are seeing it. So once you've installed the platform, I pre-filled, of course, the fields here. So you create your admin user. Once you create your admin user, you set up your company profile with the organization name, the website, the platform you want, because you want it customizable, your branding color, everything you set up here. And in the third step, you configure your BigBlueButton settings. And here you activate and deactivate what features you want to be usable in your presets later. So as example, so let's say we want, let's get general. We want all meetings that have duration. So we'll be able here to configure the duration in the presets later. And we want audio, listen only, enabled, and auto join configurable. So once we've enabled them, we just selected what we are going to enable in the presets. We just finished the install, and congratulations, everything is installed. I'm going to stop my screen sharing here. The next step is an administrator step for security reasons. You just execute a command, BBBeasy EW, which is enable web installer, and it will disable the installer in the backend and the front end and switch to the web user interface. And the web user interface looks like here in my screen. So it's a live demo. It's working. It's already working. And so let me share my screen. Okay, right now. Hello. And you can see here I have my rooms. But before going through the rooms, we need to understand what are presets. So presets are a group of BigBlueButton configuration that you can assign to a room. And the idea came from, as we explained, the complexity of managing BigBlueButton settings for rooms. So we thought about a system where you just assign a preset to a room and it fully comply to the selected configuration. So you don't have to change the room configuration. I'll show you how it can be editable. So as example, for HR recruitment, here you can see you just click on it and it's 5-minute duration with maximum 2 participants. So you can, as example, join as muted. Sorry, we enabled users to join as muted, and so on. Then you create your own configurations that you just, here when you create a new room, just create a name, as example, BBB World here, okay? You just change the URL, so BBB World Best, you can customize it, it's optional. You can select your preset. Of course, you need to remember your preset, and you just tag it with a label, and you have your new room. So this is super easy managing rooms. You can tag them, and later on, you can filter them by labels from the search menu. Labels, the idea came, of course, from the project management, because we work a lot on projects, so you need to have a quick view on rooms. So it's like any labels management, like GitHub or Git, if you know these systems. You just create new labels and edit them. For roles, we have 2 roles. By default, there is a super user administrator. You can't edit the permissions, but you can create here a new role. So here I created the rooms manager role, and in terms of permission, he can edit his account and he can manage the rooms. And all of this is done through introspection. So you just extend your backend class, and it will automatically detect this new role permission. Nothing more than that. So no database addition is required for this purpose. So the presentation of BBBeasy, the demo, has been done as a roadmap. So we started Dockerizing the project. We still didn't finish it, but this is something we want to do. We'll likely implement the calendar invitations. This is something that has been asked from customers. We'll also add new presence configuration for managing, for creating new configurations. We'll also offer migration tools. Yes, calendar invitations. So migration tool is something that we'll write also for existing integrations. And something very important that is required by enterprises is LDAP integration. So the Alpha 1 version is scheduled for 10 days ahead. Of course, there is a lot of work to finish this integration, but we want to have a working version. I hope by September. So this is already working. You can test it, try it, install it without any issue. And we welcome all the feedback of the project is on GitHub. We are going to publish the edition very soon. And everyone, all the community is really welcome to contribute and comment the project. Everything is in GitHub. Even the discussions of the forums are on GitHub. So everyone is welcome to contribute. And thank you for following this presentation.
Thank you, Ghazi. Very cool. It's always interesting to see an interface to BigBlueButton reimagined and use like the latest components, not components from 5 years ago, but like the latest components to build very professional, scalable, easy to use integrations. Looks really good. And yes, if anyone has questions, please ask them in the chat. Hey, Ghazi, I see a few questions there in the chat.
Yes, is the lack of recording a deliverable choice or just down the roadmap? So there is currently a recording menu at the left. We are still implementing it, but yes, recording will be managed in the application, and it's in the features we've listed. So yes, BigBlueButton without recordings, you can't imagine that. That's not possible. Is there a public demo server? No, there is no public demo server, but you can go through the documentation. So you just configure your host name, your root user, and execute the command line to install it, and you can use it. It's already working. That's great. Integration into Canvas. Yes, maybe you can create a ticket and you can think about it. So the open source community is for there. Already have more than 1,000 commits. Yes, so we have been working on that project since more than 18 months. So it's a long-term project, and there is a dedicated team of engineers and quality engineers working on the project, and myself, of course. Will this be an integration option with LMS? I'm thinking of ad hoc meetings, training, I'll have the opportunities of remote students. So BBBeasy really built like a core system. So you can use its API to create your own use cases and create a new user interface. So just take as example, the PHP API and create your own interface and integrate it with your own LMS. So this is something totally possible. But it's not going to the current version or the current roadmap of the product. But yes, nothing is preventing you from just forking and creating your own use cases with the product. It's really the purpose. So go beyond the virtual classroom experience, which is already the best for me. There is an upstream BB API. It has its own API because we are managing rooms, labels, presets, and recording. So it's different. It's really it's not meant to upstream the BB API, but it's an integration that has its own API. So you can start a BigBlueButton meeting with a preset with API.
Ghazi, we're near the end of the talk. Thank you. What I'll do is we'll pause the recording or stop the recording here. Feel free to stay and answer further questions. But it was really good to see. And I love how you sort of put forward that BigBlueButton can be applied to many, many different contexts because its core, it's a collaborative system that can be used in different contexts. Thank you, Ghazi, for the presentation. Really well done.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you.